Hey Laker gang, Mr. Nunley here, and guess what class? I finally decided to shave. I wasn't sure about it at first, but you do be looking fresh though. So, today we're going to look at two new groups of individuals that have moved out west in the mid 1800s. Huh, I thought I heard something. It's weird. Anyways, one of them, the Chinese immigrants, is yet another group of individuals that went west for financial reasons or to make money, while the other group, the Mormons, went west for religious freedom. You see, newspaper. It's the Incredible Hulk!
Oh, is that you? He locked me in here. Let me out. Thank gosh.
Alright, back to normal. Nice job, Hulk. Sorry, Laker gang. Had to take out that imposter real quick. Nobody steals Mr. Nunley's show. But he actually wasn't wrong. Today we are going to be talking about the Chinese immigrants to America during the mid-1800s, as well as the Mormon Pioneers. So, let's start out with the Chinese immigrants. You see, news spread fast about the 1849 California gold rush. But it didn't just stay in America. News spread around the world, and it especially caught the attention of people in China. In China at the time, most people were very poor and were struggling with things like local wars and famine. They would take any chance they could get to make money for their families. They heard rumors about gold, and soon thousands started immigrating. Most of the gold that was easy for American miners to get from the surface was already gone, so Chinese workers had to come up with new ways to get gold from mines that white settlers had already given up on. However, their success made the Americans very angry and jealous towards them. Other Chinese immigrants worked to build the Transcontinental Railroad. They actually made up 90% of the people that built the railroad, although they would have to do the most dangerous jobs. Sometimes they would have to do things like carve tunnels through solid rocks. Other times they would have to use baskets to lower themselves down the sides of cliffs and set off explosives in the sides of cliffs. You would think that they would be paid very, very well for their hard, dangerous work, but they were actually paid much less than their American counterparts, even though they worked longer hours and much more dangerous jobs. Sometimes they made as little as $26 a month. In 1869, the railroad was complete, so the Chinese immigrants had to find new ways of work, such as opening stores, farming, and other times fishing. However, racism only got worse, as many were accused of taking American settlers' jobs. They were forced to leave towns and sometimes even attacked. However, they also had to fight something else, other than racism from the people, racism from the laws that we had. In 1852, there was a foreign miner tax in California, where every month, if you were a Chinese miner, you had to pay a special tax. After that, in 1854, a court case called People versus Hall made it so that Chinese people weren't allowed to testify in court, which means if they were a witness to a crime, what they had to say wasn't any use in a court of law. It could be ignored, even if they were just trying to defend themselves if they were accused of a crime. And then it even went so far as to, in 1882, there was the Chinese Exclusion Act, which made it illegal for Chinese people to come into our country, period. Thankfully, though, these laws were removed over time, and millions of Chinese Americans live in the United States today. So, let's switch over to our other group, the Mormons. You see, most people went west for fortune or to make money, but the Mormons went west for religious freedom. In 1830, a man named Joseph Smith founded the new Mormon religion. Joseph Smith was an inspiring preacher of a new religion who led thousands of people in joining him out west. However, many people did not like the different beliefs that the Mormons had. First, they tried to live in western settlements like Ohio, but they were forced out for their different beliefs. They tried again in Missouri, and the exact same thing happened. They were finally forced to move their settlements to a town in Illinois that they called Nauvoo. However, they continued to meet trouble there as well. And come to me and I can tell you even more about the Book of Mormon. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, son. That's not okay.
Excuse me?
I don't like what you're doing here, and I don't like those ideas you're trying to spread in my town.
Let me get this straight. I can't preach from the Book of Mormon here.
No.
This is America, right?
Yes, sir.
And people came to America for religious freedom. Do you follow?
You're darn right we did, brother.
And according to the Bill of Rights, which I have a copy of right here, the First Amendment says people should have the freedom of religion.
Yeah, it sure does.
So if somebody wanted to start a new religion or preach about something, they should have that right, correct?
Yes.
So I should be able to preach from the Book of Mormon.
You lost me. That makes no sense whatsoever.
I, Joseph Smith, need to have this message heard, and you're not going to stop me.
We'll see about that, Smith.
Many non-Mormons were afraid that Mormons, and specifically Joseph Smith, were becoming much too powerful. In 1844, Joseph and his brother Hiram were arrested and sent to jail for treason, and while awaiting trial, an angry mob broke in and killed them both. The story of the Mormons doesn't end there, though. In 1846, a new leader stepped forward, Brigham Young. He said they needed to move even further west to settle a territory for Mormons so that they could never be kicked out of their homes again. In 1847, Young organized a large migration west, along the way building cabins, digging wells, and even planting crops for future Mormons to make the journey out west as well. When they finally reached the Great Salt Lake in Utah, Young said this is the right place. Although the land they settled was a dry, empty plain, the Mormons irrigated their new land by building dams in the mountain to collect water, and then they built ditches to carry the water to their cities. They stayed and settled the territory of Utah where they would not be forced from their homes again. So that's our stories, folks. I know it was weird to think about how really not too long ago, less than 200 years ago, people who live in our country were treated very, very differently. And remember, even though I make funny clips about these events, they are not to make fun of any group of people, just to help you learn and remember what happened in the past. That way we can learn from it. We can use that information to understand why groups of people feel the way that they do today, and also to make sure that we never treat individuals like that again. So, thank you all for watching. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email me, drop them in the comments. Let me know what you like and dislike about the videos. If you want me to do a certain type of video, a certain style, something you want me to include, whatever it is, just let me know. And as always, I miss you guys, and thanks for watching. Nunley out.